Hello, everyone. On June 28, 1914, an event took place that would change the course of history. A 19-year-old student assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne. This single act ignited what would become one of the deadliest conflicts the world had ever seen, a war that spanned continents, lasted 4 years, and took over 20 million lives. We know it today as World War I. But can we really say that one event caused the entire world to plunge into war? If we could somehow go back in time and prevent that assassination, would the war never have happened? The reality is more complex. When a massive war like this unfolds, there are usually deep-rooted issues driving it: national rivalries, territorial ambitions, and political alliances that make the situation like a stack of dynamite. The assassination was just the spark. In today's video, let's go back in time and uncover the layers of reasons that led to the First World War. The political map of Europe in 1914. In 1914, Europe looked quite different than it does today. At the heart of Europe was the Austro-Hungarian Empire, covering a large area, much bigger than present-day Austria and Hungary. Germany, too, was a powerful empire, larger than the Germany we know today. Poland was not even a country yet. To the east, there was the vast Russian Empire, and in modern-day Turkey, there was the Ottoman Empire. Alongside these empires, Britain and France held their own significant territories. Most of these countries were ruled by monarchies, with power concentrated in the hands of emperors and kings. Democracy was rare, with only a few nations like France, Switzerland, and San Marino practicing democratic governance. In Eastern Europe, a region known as the Balkans, consisting of countries like Serbia, Bosnia, and Romania, had become a major point of tension. Keep the Balkans in mind. They play an important role in our story. The rise of nationalism and conflict in the Balkans. The story begins in 1878, when a war broke out between the Russian and Ottoman empires. The conflict centered around the independence of Balkan nations from Ottoman control, with Russia supporting the Balkan countries. The war ended with the Treaty of Berlin, which allowed Austria-Hungary to administer Bosnia-Herzegovina temporarily, though it remained officially under Ottoman rule. But in 1908, Austria-Hungary decided to annex Bosnia-Herzegovina completely, angering many in the region. This was a bitter blow for the people of Bosnia, who had lived under Ottoman rule for 400 years and hoped for independence. To them, this was simply a new empire taking control. Neighboring Serbia, which shared strong ethnic and cultural ties with Bosnia, was equally outraged, as they believed Bosnia should be free to join with Serbia. This desire for unity among Slavic peoples gave rise to nationalist movements. Groups like Young Bosnia emerged, made up mostly of students and young people who wanted independence for Bosnia and a unification with Serbia to form a larger South Slavic nation. This is where the name Yugoslavia originates, Yugo, meaning South, in Slavic languages, envisioning a united South Slavic state. Tensions build. The European powers take sides. The annexation of Bosnia in 1908 didn't sit well with Russia, which also had a significant Slavic population and felt a duty to protect Slavs across Europe. Initially, Russia made a secret agreement with Austria-Hungary, suggesting that they wouldn't object to the annexation of Bosnia if Austria-Hungary would support Russian claims over strategic territories near Istanbul, in the Ottoman Empire. However, the Russian public, seeing themselves as defenders of Slavs, pushed their leaders to support Serbia instead. This led to a buildup of alliances that set the stage for a major conflict. Austria-Hungary turned to Germany for support, and Germany, already closely aligned with Austria-Hungary, promised to stand by them. On the other side, Russia sought France's backing, but France, uninterested in the Balkan tensions at that time, chose to stay neutral. Despite this, the atmosphere was tense, and a sense of distrust grew among the major powers. Europe was divided into two blocs. The Triple Alliance of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, and the Triple Entente of Britain, France, and Russia. These alliances were meant to create security, but instead, they made it easier for a small incident to escalate into a large-scale conflict. The assassination that sparked the war. Fast forward to June 28, 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, visited Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia. His visit was seen by many as an attempt to assert Austrian control over the region. 6 young Bosnian revolutionaries, determined to make a stand for independence, plotted an assassination. Their first attempt failed. A bomb thrown at the Archduke's car missed its target. But later that day, as the Archduke's car took a wrong turn, one of the conspirators, 19-year-old Gavrilo Princip, found himself just a few feet away. He fired, killing the Archduke and his wife. This assassination outraged the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which quickly declared war on Serbia, blaming it for supporting the Bosnian nationalists. Russia came to Serbia's defense. Germany, in turn, backed Austria-Hungary, and soon France and Britain joined on Russia's side. Within weeks, a local conflict had spiraled into what would become World War I. Why was Europe so ready for war? The eagerness of countries to enter into war wasn't just about the assassination. It was the result of 4 major forces at play: nationalism, imperialism, militarism, and alliances. 1. Nationalism. In many countries, a form of extreme patriotism had taken root, with people believing in the superiority of their nation over others. Leaders used this sentiment to rally support for aggressive actions, framing war as a noble endeavor. 2. Imperialism. European powers had spent decades building empires, competing to control resources and colonies. This desire for expansion fueled rivalries and created deep-seated resentment. 3. Militarism. Countries like Britain, Germany, and France had invested heavily in their military forces, leading to an arms race. Many believed that a show of military strength was the best way to protect their interests. 4. Alliances. The web of alliances made it so that if one country was attacked, others were bound to join the fight. What might have been a limited conflict quickly drew in nation after nation. The role of ordinary people. It's important to remember that most ordinary people had little say in these decisions. Soldiers often came from poor backgrounds and joined the military out of necessity. Propaganda glorified war, presenting it as an honorable duty, while poems and articles portrayed soldiers as heroes, masking the brutal realities they faced. However, not everyone was convinced. Some writers, thinkers, and political groups saw war for what it was: a tragedy for the common people, driven by the ambitions of rulers. Their works, like Thomas Hardy's poem, "The Man He Killed," showed the sad irony of young men forced to fight each other for reasons they barely understood. In December 1914, a remarkable event, the Christmas Truce, showed just how little these soldiers truly wanted to fight. For one day, British and German soldiers laid down their arms, shared food, and celebrated together. Unfortunately, the truce was short-lived, as commanders ordered them back to battle. Conclusion. This is how World War I began, not from a single event, but from a complex web of alliances, rivalries, and ambitions that had been building for decades. The war would last 4 years, leaving destruction on a scale the world had never seen. In future videos, we'll explore what happened as the war unfolded, who emerged victorious, and the impact this conflict had on nations across the globe, including India's role in this global struggle. If you found this video helpful, please explore more content on history and its lessons for us today. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the